The civilization of human beings, and every group of persons across the globe is contributing its quota. So if we identify ourselves as TIEF, then what are we uniquely contributing to this body of knowledge?
The convener of the summit, Barrister Justin Gbagi, described the summit as a gathering that will facilitate a remarkable changes that will positively impact on the TIEF nation in Nigeria. From Boko local government, Ahmed Yaf, Core TV News.
Lagos State government has been advised to educate residents in waste dumping and collection sites to reduce the heap of refuse that has recently refused to go away. Meanwhile, a special advisor to the governor on education, Obafela Bankolemo, also says Lagos needs a minimum of 5 engineering landfill sites to help in tackling the threat. Health correspondent Ibirunke Ariloviwe went round the streets of Lagos and has this situation report.
In recent times, the story of refuse collection and disposal in Lagos for the greater part of 2017, virtually all the streets of Lagos were littered with loads of refuse. In a visit to Lawansin, a suburb in Surulere area of the state, heaps of refuse and dustbin depot were the order of the day, spilling over onto major roads of Lagos. Just in front of a primary school was a refuse dump site, which has become an eyesore and even a burden to the school authorities, residents and business owners around the area.
We have been complaining about this mess that is here. Several times, people come here to put some refuse here, dump it here, inside motor. Some people come inside the bus, come down inside the bus, they'll put it here. And this is inside your primary school here. You can even see the school compound here. Those children, they can now come outside playing, doing sport, everything. They can't do it now because of the smelling that is smelling here.
Though I have a shop here, I started last year, and that was when a lawman are still in existence, and they've been doing well. Though they do dump the dirty here. Why they come every day? But since we have the cleaner Lagos, they've not been up and doing. And we've written series of letters to the school, being a public school, that it's not ideal dumping waste being here, because it's dangerous to the health of the students.
For these science technologists, educating residents on the best time to dump this refuse will go a long way in solving the problem to ensure a cleaner Lagos.
These are some of the challenges of a city. A city with a high population density has a lot of challenges. And the first thing about that challenge is, even if you want to act, do you have the information to act? So if a refuse a refuse collector goes to a particular location by 7 a.m., for example, he clears the refuse. If he does not have data that will tell him that by 12 p.m. you're going to have more refuse here, he does not identify the peak period, it makes it very difficult to plan. And you've probably dispatched that truck there in the early morning to avoid the traffic. So what do? If you as a citizen go there in the afternoon, you see a lot of waste, but you do not know that something has been cleared in the early morning. So with user engagement, with user education, simple things like probably educating the users on the best time to drop their refuse will make a lot of difference. So
the special advisor to the governor on education appealed to Lagosians to be patient, as the problem of waste management will soon be a thing of the past, while adding that Lagos State needs 5 engineering landfill sites to ensure a clean environment.
The environment issue is something that we're confident that in the coming weeks and months it will be a thing of the past. The system we had in place was not sustainable, and that's the reality. So what the system we've tried to put in place now is a system that will ensure that we have engineering landfill sites all around the state. We did an audit of our environmental issues, and the Lagos, as you know it today, needs a minimum of 5 engineering landfill sites. We need like 25 transfer loading systems. That was the reality on ground. So the new system, the Cleaner Lagos Initiative, is supposed to be a private sector driven model that help us achieve this over the long run. The government itself doesn't have the money to run the system. For example, the Olusoso site that you see there is a dump site. For us to close that dump site is going to cost the Lagos State government a minimum of $25 million.
But the question is, how long will this take to ensure Lagos become a clean city? Ibironke Airelovigbe, Core TV News, Lagos.
Adamawa State government has refuted claims that 81 people have been quarantined following this suspected case of Lassa fever outbreak in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, who disclosed this during a press briefing in Yola, however, confirmed that one person died as a result of the disease. Percy Debang reports.
Tension has been brewing in Adamawa following reports of suspected case of Lassa fever in the state. There are rumors that over a dozen doctors from the Federal Medical Center Yola and over 100 others have been infected with the disease. The State's Commissioner for Health, Fatima Abubakar, alongside key stakeholders in the health sector, say the speculations are not true.
The Ministry of Health has come up with measures for prevention and control as follows. Contact tracing through identification, line listing and follow-up of contacts for 21 days from day of last contact with the patient. Emergency Operations Center for management of response activities on daily basis.
Abubakar confirms that 102 people are under surveillance, while one person has been isolated.
The public is hereby advised to immediately report any suspected cases to the nearest health facility or call the State Emergency Operations Center. The public should keep their homes and surrounding clean to avoid contact with rats.
Some of the medical practitioners at the Health Ministry also refute claims on the rumor that 81 persons have been quarantined and many deaths recorded with Lassa fever.
One person is in isolation at the FMC, which is a relation to the deceased case. Okay, so nobody is under quarantine. All those issues of number of doctors or nurses is not correct.
Contact is a person who has come in close physical contact with the patient, especially the one that dealt with his vomit or urine or any body fluid.
Meanwhile, the commissioner urges residents not to panic, saying the ministry is doing everything medically possible to curtail the outbreak of the disease.
You're watching News at 4 on Core TV News. North Korea and South Korea have set up a telephone hotline between their two leaders, President Moon Jae-in and South Korean and Kim of South Korea and Jong-un of North Korea to meet later this month for the discussion. The hotline was established between the South's Presidential Blue House and the North's State Affairs Commission, which is headed by Kim. Blue House officials had earlier said the two leaders were likely to hold a telephone conversation before their face-to-face meeting. The agreement to set up the phone link came last month when Moon's top security advisor traveled to Pyongyang for an unprecedented meeting with Kim, who had then agreed to hold the Inter-Korean Summit. This will be the third in Inter-Korean Summit between both countries after summit is previously held in years 2000 and 2007. And that's the news at 4 on Core TV News. You'll watch The Reporter later this evening at 7 o'clock. Thanks very much. I am Michael Nath.
The judiciary, third arm of government. What happens here is what we give to you. The arraignments, arguments, rulings, adjournments of cases and judgments. The fight against corruption and issues bordering on human rights violations.
The doctrine of least spenders ought to have been respected, that no arm of government, however powerful, should take the laws into its hands as held by the Supreme Court.
Justice is one way. It's either you go for justice or justice go after you. But I've never seen a situation where an individual is afraid of justice.
We move from court to court, to give you updates on legal matters, when they happen and where they are happening, going extra miles to get reactions from the parties, even when they are not in the mood to speak.
No comment. Talk to my lawyer.
Watch Legal Scope on Core TV News at this time.
Democracy allows for fair hearing. This is reckless. This is ungodly.
When news break, we engage experts in critical analysis.
Do you see your party coming into power come 2019?
This administration will succeed and succeed well.
You cannot be running a 4-year tenure like you are running a 20-year tenure.
He has done fairly well, especially where insurgency and terrorism is concerned.
Then it gets controversial.
They have a right to their opinion.
Can we, very interesting gentlemen, just hold on.
I am about principle and I am about fortune.
Now, you see, let me say this.
So that our soldiers will be free, we should also ask for justification.
Core Digest, your #1 program for current issues.
If you are not idle, nobody will probably come and encourage you to join their gang or the group.
Yes. To keep Nigeria one is a must that must be done. Nigeria is not going to break.
So if I don't buy this one now, how much you go sell this one?
I will give you 500.
Sure? This one?
Yes.
This small banana?
Yes.
I know that Buhari can do it. He has a lot of plans.
We should be praying for him. He's a human being. Anything can happen to anybody.
The majority of the law they pass belong to them, to favor them, not the masses in Nigeria.
If we want to change, let's change generally. Don't let's change half. Let's change generally.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
They want to use 1 billion naira to fight insurgency.
I don't know anything.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You don't know anything?
I don't know anything.
Well, there's a typical Nigerian here. She said she does not know anything happening in the country. It's another episode of your darling program, The People. I'm your host, Emmanuel Ajayi, on the streets, feeling the pulse of Nigerians on topical matters. This time around, we'll be talking concerning the $1 billion that the federal government wants to use to purchase arms in the country. Well, Nigerians indeed are reacting concerning this one. Let's hit the street to feel the pulse of Nigerians on this matter. As I remain your host, Emmanuel Ajayi, see you more on the street.
The same Boko Haram that we say we have defeated, you understand? We say they've been defeated, they've been depleted, they've even been decimated. So, and you can see what people are saying all over the country, that the government is embarking on last-minute looting.
Keep the peace. Now, if you have won the war, what are you using $1 billion for in terms of buying equipment? And this calls to the sincerity or otherwise of this government. So what we are saying in essence is that the government must be true to its own responsibility. The government must be true to its own responsibility and ensure that next time when it is addressing the nation, it has to be very sincere in doing so.
If they want to use it, it's best known to them. The federal government do anything they like.
Are you not worried about the insecurity situation in the country at the moment?
We always say that they are doing everything for security. Then let's watch and see what will happen about it.
Actually, I'm very sure his own mindset, from his own perspective, be for security and all of that. But if you look at it well, there are other things better than, trying to use that money on arms. If you empower people, give them the right mindsets, make them understand why some things are supposed to be done and why some things are not supposed to be, I'm very sure he would not have to make do of that amount. It's so ridiculous, it's so much to buy arms. Yes, it's, I feel if that money is better invested in better things, in fact the youth of the nation, I feel it's better, because
are you not
of course,
worried?
If you build the youth, you're building the nation. Okay. And you think less or stress yourself less about war and I don't know, fight, quarrel, whatever.
Are you not worried about this insecurity situation in the country?
Of course I am. I'm a Nigerian, so of course I am.
So you think that using $1 billion